My name is Concetta Principe, and my age is 62. I can't say that there is anything that I love. Actually, right now, no. I would say I've heard other people talk about how going through menopause liberated them. I've heard other people say, they're heading into retirement, and that's all great. But I've just started a job, and I see a decade of work ahead of me, which isn't a problem, because it's the first time in my life that I have ever had permanent gainful employment. But I have to admit, I'm very anxious about being my age, starting in an industry, in academia, where a lot of people are, younger than I am. Like, it's just a fact. Yeah. When I was 25, I have to say, I was very unhappy. I was also quite lost. So I spent a lot of time not doing anything. It was actually not a good period in my life. And I wish that I could go back to let that 25-year-old know that there's so much life still to have. There's so much ahead that's good. And in some way, I feel that way about my life now. I don't feel like I'm supposed to retire, even though that's the age that I'm at, that I'm, in that period, that bracket. So I would basically say, just like, go out and enjoy your life, because you're not going to be able to do it as much when you get older. That's exactly the question that I ask myself, about elders, but also about what it means to be older. Like, it's true, like, we can appreciate aged wine, old trees, like we can be impressed. And I have to say that probably the only time we're really impressed with a human being old is when they hit 100, right? Or 99. It's like, I can't believe you're that old and you're still going. But prior to that, the features, the problems that come with aging, health problems, mobility, like vision. This is a big one for me, because I read a lot and I need to be able to read. And if cataracts start interfering, then that's a problem. So, like, being inside an aging body, maybe a tree would feel differently if we asked the tree how they feel being that old. But from the outside, human beings aren't considered miraculous like an aged tree until they are a miracle, 100, 105. As a child, I was very shy. I was very inquisitive, curious, and creative. I have to say that as an older person, I appreciate my creative practice so much more than I did as a child. As a child, I was very lost. I was very creative, but I also just didn't feel secure in what I was doing. I was afraid. And now that I'm older, I know so much more. I can create in a way that I know I couldn't have, I wasn't able to as a child. Although as a child, I was probably fearless in some ways. And I think now that I'm feeling more secure about my creative practice, I think I'm a bit more fearless now. But as a child, that's what sticks, that fearlessness, that comes through. On my bucket list. I want to go to Spain. There are so many places I want to go, and there are so many books I want to publish. There are so many books I want to read. Like, it's not time to go, basically. I really do feel like I'm in a Renaissance period. So going to Spain, that's something I've been wanting to do forever. And I haven't got there. And now that I'm working, I can actually probably budget for that. So that's one thing. I think of all the products I have spent money on, it's a ludicrous idea. Every year we get older and we celebrate our birthday. But I buy into and have bought into this whole idea that as a woman, I should not look my age. Basically, I should be a demi-moore and I should be 40 and I shouldn't age. It was Madonna who said, the greatest sin is getting old because they will stop playing your music on the radio, which was a beautiful statement because nobody listens to the radio anymore. It's like everything is gone. It's like a whole period of culture has shifted and changed over into something else entirely. I think because I walk so much. I mean, I know there are hips that you can get, knees you can get, and you can fix your bunions and all that stuff. But I think a miracle item that would allow you to stay mobile right until you decide that you want to pass. I think that would be, that's what I would do. Okay, like getting into that, the whole idea around keeping my body weight is so that I can, quote unquote, stay sexy. So how does a 62-year-old stay sexy? Is that kind of creepy? And I know that there are some people who would say, that's creepy. And then I think, well, it's also a little creepy because why do I need to stay sexy? So is it sexy or is it health? And I have to admit, health is something that I assume I have. I assume I have that more than I have the attention of and I don't even know what I mean by sexy, because it's like you don't need the attention of men. It's just the attention that people will say, wow, you look really good for a 62-year-old person, right? You haven't lost your body. And that's why I try and control my weight. I also had an eating disorder which hooked into all of those issues around desire and nurturing. But health, I still believe that I'm immortal, basically. Like, that doesn't change. Beauty. It's, I don't know why I'm stuck on the beauty thing. I've talked to a younger colleague about this project I'm doing on aging, and one of the chapters is on beauty and the beauty industry and anti-aging products, and she was disturbed that I would be so concerned with beauty, but I guess I've bought into that whole idea of youth being the best part of life. And I think, and that's where beauty is. Like, I'm still so impressed by young people because they emanate beauty. It's hard to describe. When you see beauty, it's all about the youth and the energy that comes off of an individual because of youth. It has nothing to do with any of the features specifically. It's just, youth is beautiful, and I'd like that not to be something I envy, I guess. So when I was very young, my grandmother, my father's grandmother, Italian, had a cyst on her back, which meant that she was bent over, so that she and I would see each other at the same level. Her face was, when she was standing, her face was where my face was at. And as a kid, knowing nothing about what death was, I just assumed that people as they get older, get taller. And then as they get older, still, they get shorter. And then after they get shorter, they get taller again. So I just assumed it was this big cycle. I didn't think about my grandmother as ever having been young. And I think as I got older, I never really thought about older people I meet as being younger. But it does shock me when I think about the fact that I never really thought that older people had ever been younger, and that older people would ever get older. You know, I just assumed that's the way they were, and that means that I would stay the way I was. About aging, well, your prejudices are the things that ruin you. That's what I would say. That as I've gotten older, I've become more and more aware of how I'm the one who limits myself because of my age. That I have to look for role models to see people who are not caving into what it means to be old. But the fact that I'm my own worst enemy is what shocks me, and what I want to work through. I think that's what, this last stretch is about, is just really rethinking all of these old bad ideas about what it means to mature.